Hi, I'm Maddie Napier, founder and principal financial planner at Minerva Wealth Planning, a fee-only financial planning firm based in Columbus, Ohio. And this is Minerva Money. On today's episode of Minerva Money, I am sharing, in the spirit of estate planning, I am sharing some horror stories, some famous people and horror stories of what happens in these bad situations. If you don't plan well, if you don't have an estate plan that's ironclad and exactly what you want, what happens in those situations. I took this from a website called justvanilla.com. These are not my own sources, but it is easily searchable online, and these are public cases, so it's, like I said, not hidden anywhere. You can go read more about these cases. 3 different situations that you should be thinking about and be mindful of trying to avoid in your own situation. The first of which is Larry King. Larry King's estate. So what happened with him, he passed away early 2021, had kind of documented in an informal way how he wanted items to pass down. However, this didn't have, on this kind of informal sheet of paper, it didn't have who the executor is, so who's in charge of making sure everything gets distributed the way that it should. Depending on the state you're in, sometimes those will hold up as a legal contract, sometimes they don't. And so, of course, state by state, you'd want to pay attention, but in this case, caused a lot of drama because he didn't have it documented in a way that's kind of a legally binding document. It's an informal way of writing down his wishes. At this point, could be probate court for the next few years. Don't know, they haven't settled it yet. It's been obviously 9 months. And at this point, anyway, we're in September of 2021, and may go on for years, which costs money and a lot of time. And so I can't imagine that he wanted his family to have to deal with this. Second case is John Singleton, who is a Hollywood filmmaker, quite a large estate that we're dealing with at this point. Basically, when he passed away, he had legal documents, so good for him for getting those in place, but they hadn't been updated since 1993. And since 1993, he had 6 kids with a variety of different women. And we would assume most people want all of their children to have some part of their estate or get something passed down to them. But we don't know because he didn't update his legal docs. So now there's a lot of family fighting. There's a lot of people claiming they should get funds or should get some of his estate. And who knows what happens with that. That could go on for months or years. The last example is Beverly Schottenstein. Those of you who live near Columbus or know Columbus, she was former wife of a department store mogul here in Columbus, pretty famous name. I think all of us know the Schottenstein name. But what she did was she trusted her grandsons to manage a large portion of her estate. It was about $80 million. She put them as fiduciaries on those funds. And so they ended up investing her in very, very risky different types of investments. And ended up, I think they exposed her $72 million of hers to risky investments, ended up losing about $10 million of her assets. So really weren't working in her best interest. Ended up suing them. And you can see their whole ordeal online, and she ended up winning the case. But it just goes to show you, if you're thinking about who should be handling your estate either while you're alive or when you're passing, once you've passed away, be really thoughtful about who you choose. Make sure they're the right person. Because they're an immediate family member does not mean that they are the best suited to handle your estate via being the executor or being a power of attorney. It should be the person that you trust the most with that content. Those are 3 horror stories. Again, what this resulted in is a bunch of time wasted and money wasted and frustration for the families. So be sure to avoid those mistakes. Make sure you're talking to your estate planning attorney, your financial professional, your tax professional on a regular basis. I would say at the very least annually, to make sure these things get updated, because life does change. But with that, good luck.